All right, you can be seated. Thank you so much. We're going to continue, as you can see up on the screen, in our Christmas at the Movies series. And today we're going to look at a movie called A Christmas Story. Now, by raise of hand, how many of you have seen this movie? Right? A lot of you have not, apparently, or you just didn't hear me. So, here's the deal. In this movie, raise your hand if you've seen it again. I think some of you were lying, first of all. Yeah, this movie is on all the time. If you haven't seen it, all you have to do is turn on the TV this Christmas Eve. TBS and TNN and like several other networks run it literally for 24 hours from Christmas Eve at like noon or 8 or something all the way through Christmas Day. It's constantly, literally, they just keep running it for 24 hours. And this movie really it's kind of a crazy movie. It's kind of nuts. There's certainly some questionable scenes in this movie. Okay, and so unlike last week where Pastor Bob, we kind of used Kevin and his wisdom as a 9-year-old or 8-year-old or how old was he? 8, his wisdom as an 8-year-old to kind of, give us some insight on how we ought to act. We're going to use this movie today in really how not to act, okay? And honestly, it's really from a more negative perspective. But so we're going to look at what not to do. But I love this movie. There's Ralphie. I was called Ralphie growing up. There were some people that used to say that was me because we look alike apparently, but only without his glasses because I didn't wear those nerdy glasses. But this, he doesn't have the glasses in that scene, but he normally wears glasses. But anyway, so this movie is all about, if you've not seen it, this boy's infatuation with something. What was it? What kind of BB gun? Yeah, right. A very, very specific kind of BB gun. It was a pursuit of a Red Ryder carbine action. I had to write down 200-shot range model air rifle, right? I mean, it was very specific, very, very specific in what he wanted. So I'm going to show you the opening scene of the movie, and we're going to talk a bit about it this morning.
Higby's corner window was traditionally a high water mark of the pre-Christmas season. First-nighters, packed earmuff to earmuff, jostled in wonderment before a golden, tinkling display of mechanized, electronic joy. It is the holy grail of Christmas gifts, the Red Ryder 200-shot range model air rifle. And there he is, Red Ryder himself. In his hand was the knurled stock of as coolly deadly looking a piece of weaponry as ever I had laid eyes on. For weeks, I had been scheming to get my mitts on one of these fearsome blue steel beauties. My fevered brain seethed with the effort of trying to come up with the infinitely subtle devices necessary to implant the Red Ryder range model air rifle indelibly into my parents' subconscious.
All right, so here it is, right here. And those of you that don't like guns, if I shake it, and it means what? What does that mean? If you know anything about BB guns, it's what? It's empty, right? So I'm going to do something dumb, shoot my hand so you make sure. Okay, there's nothing there, it's just air. This was it, right? This was it for Ralphie Parker. How many of you ever asked for a Red Ryder 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or a BB gun. How many of you ever got one of these, right? Yes. Man, Santa was good to some of you. This was what it was all about for Ralphie, okay? This little Red Ryder range model carbine action, whatever, it's got 100 words to it. And some of you we have these in my house. My kids have grown up shooting the Red Ryder BB guns in the backyard. When we go out to the desert, we plink, aluminum cans and stuff like that. We have a good time. I keep pigeons off the roof of my house with our Red Ryder. And so last week, if you remember, someone won a movie, right? And we did that in all 3 services. So here's what you'd like to do. We're going to give this away this week. So if you would like to be in the drawing for that, you can see on your connection card. Grab it right now on your connection card. There's a thing on the back that says, I want to be in the drawing for the Red Ryder. And then just put your name on it, because if you don't put your name on it and we draw your name, we're not going to know who gets it. So we'll call you, whoever wins, we'll call you this week. And it will not be Pastor Bob winning this, okay? But this is what it was all about. The range Red Ryder BB gun. We've got the box up here, so you can take it back to Walmart if you don't like it. But anyway, this is what it was all about, right? And we've all had those things that we wanted so bad for Christmas. Maybe for you, it was not a Red Ryder. Maybe for you, it was something else. Just shout out, how many of you really begged for a Cabbage Patch doll? Yeah, some of you did, right? What was that thing when you were a kid that you had to have? What was it? A 10-speed bike, a mini bike, like a motorcycle, dirt bike? A what? A banana seat bike. Yeah, a lot of bikes here. What else did you have to have? Sorry, what? Go-bots? Go-kart? Man, yeah, I never got one of those. Roller skates? An Atari? Remember those things? Yeah. Ooh, a record player with cassette. Yes. What else? What else was your... What? Chatty Cathy doll. How many of you wanted one of those? Dudes better not raise your hand. That's weird. Chatty Cathy, did she talk or something? Oh, pull the string. Okay, yeah, 100 years ago. Well, that was my mom, so I can say that. We've all wanted something, though, so bad, right? And for Ralphie, it was the Red Ryder. And he was going to do whatever he could do, right? Absolutely whatever he could do to see one of these under the tree, right? And so he's influencing. The opening scene of the movie talks about, he's been planning for weeks on how he can figure out how to make sure one of these Red Riders are under the tree. He begins to make it happen. That scene that you saw that we just stopped from, he was cutting out advertisements from the newspaper and sticking them in his mom's magazines that she was going to read, so it's just subliminal messaging. If you remember the movie, he told his mom that one of his friends, Flick, saw a grizzly bear down at the candy store, so they need to protect themselves, so they need a weapon. And he even goes to Santa to ask Santa for this. He was obsessed with this weaponry, this BB gun. And he tries to do whatever he can to make it happen for him, to get this thing that he wanted so bad. And we've all been there. We've all been there at some point. For me, it's not a Red Ryder. It's a 2019 Ford F-250 Super Duty Platinum 4-wheel drive crew cab. None of you are taking notes, which is upsetting to me. But, we all have those things, right? We all have those things that we just got to have, right? Yeah, the BB gun's a lot cheaper. $22 at Walmart, right? So, we all have those things, so. We all have those things that we begin to obsess about, especially like Ralphie here, dreaming about this thing. The Bible, though, warns us time and time again about where our time and attention and focus ought to be. And you've probably heard this verse before, Matthew 6:24. This is Jesus. He's teaching. There's a huge group of people there. He's teaching them Sermon on the Mount, there's all kinds of stuff happening. He's really changing up the way that they had heard the scriptures before. And he says this, he says, no one can serve two masters, for you will hate one and love the other. You'll be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to, what's that last word? To money. Now, I want to take a little liberty here, and I do not want to overstep my bounds, but I'd like for us this morning, and I think this was really the concept that Jesus would say, I think he'd be okay with this, me saying, you can't serve God and really anything else. Okay, it's not just money. He was specifically speaking to money there, but the reality of the situation is we cannot serve God and be enslaved to anything. So for you, what is your Ford F-250, right? What is your BB gun? What is it that in your life, this thing that is what you're focused on, what you're dreaming about, what you're like, we cannot serve God and be enslaved to those obsessions, those focuses, those desires that we have, that we can fill in the blank there. And I mean, there are a ton, right? We can't serve God and be enslaved to football. Okay? Think about it. There's some guys that are such football fans. They go home and they watch the game. They put on their jersey and they scream and shout and go nuts and paint their face and their chest, right? And they just get crazy about their football team and are embarrassing themselves and all of that. But, you know, think about this. Is there any kind of that passion for the things of God? Probably not in many scenarios. So you can't serve God in football. You can't serve God in family, let's say. You can't serve God and be enslaved to your family. Family's a good thing. Think about families these days where the kids are the focus. Where it's all about them. They rule the house, and mom or dad or both are constantly taking little Johnny and little Susie to, as soon as school's out, to soccer practice and then piano lessons and then ballet because we want to be Clara in the Nutcracker, and don't forget about this and that, and there is no time for your actual family. There's no time to do any kind of spiritual things with your family because we're enslaved to the family. I mean, family's a good thing, but it can become an obsession for us. It can become an idol for us. And I know that we've gone from cute, you know, Ralphie Parker and a BB gun to some serious stuff, but this is serious business. What about your phone? I know for phone. Wait, what are you talking about? Right? You can't serve God and be enslaved to your phone. How many of us are just, you know, the relationships we build in social media? How many times has your phone taken priority over a real conversation with somebody? Or real quality time spent with your kids? Or real time in the Bible? I don't have time to do a Bible study. I don't have time to study. I don't have time to do a devotional. But you know, now the iPhone has screen time. It tells you how much time you've spent on your phone. It's pretty humbling. But you can't serve God and cars. You can't serve God and food. Right? You can't serve God and dirt bikes. You can't serve God and your college education. You can't serve God and be enslaved to anything else. And I know that we have gone like serious from 0 to 10 really quickly, but this is reality for us. Advertisers are spending billions and billions of dollars trying to convince you that the next thing will fulfill you, whatever that thing is, right? How many of you have a Yeti cup or one like it, or the Walmart version, right? Remember these came out, like 2 or 3 years ago, right? Advertising for days. If you don't have a Yeti cup, you ain't worth nothing, right? Like you, and there where some of us are drinking out of them right now, that an advertiser is going to say that your cup sucks because it's not a Yeti cup. And we buy in to the lies. We buy into advertisers. There are advertisers everywhere around you trying to convince you that their product will fulfill you. And it is a absolute lie. Absolute lie. This new purse isn't going to fulfill you. This new diet is not going to fulfill you. The new car, the new house, the new boyfriend, they're not going to fulfill you. They're going to fail you. They're going to break. You're going to run out of batteries. Look at what God says about the constant pursuit of things. 1 John 2:15 and 17 says this, "Do not love this world nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father." And that's strong words there. Strong words. 16. "For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world." 17. "And this world is fading away, along with everything that people crave. But anyone who does what pleases God will live forever." I want for us to look at 16 again. I want to highlight it. There it says this, "For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world." I wrote this little, saying, nugget. As long as we continue to pursue fulfillment outside of Christ, we will always be disappointed. It's just the truth, y'all. I'm going to read it again. As long as we, here, all of us, and me included, as long as we continue to pursue fulfillment, as long as we continue to try to find that next thing that's going to make us happy, as long as we try to make ourselves joyous by buying this thing, or getting that relationship, or getting into a new house, or a college, whatever, as long as we continue to pursue fulfillment, true fulfillment outside of Christ, we're always going to be disappointed. Always going to be disappointed. And I know this is serious business, and it's not light, and it's heavy, but it is the truth. Because toys break, relationships end, cars get smashed, things are going to rust, they're going to fail you. There is only one person that will ever truly fulfill you, ever fill that God-sized hole, and that's God himself. Okay? And he is the true reason. That reality is the reason that he came. Everything else is going to leave us disappointed. The problem is sometimes we get so obsessed. We get so obsessed with that thing that we want. Like Ralphie was so obsessed with that BB gun that he would not listen to reason, right? Ralphie even asks his parents, he asks his teacher in an essay, and he asks Santa for this BB gun. And what is their response every time? Right? He would not listen to reason because he was so obsessed with it. So obsessed. And watch this clip. This is some of the points where they tell him, they give him some...
What would you like for Christmas?
Horrified, I heard myself blurt it out.
I want an official Red Ryder Carbine Action 2-inch range ball air rifle.
Ooh.
No. Shoot your eye out.
No. Shoot your eye out.
Pointed in the margins.
Oh, this is it. C+. Oh, no, it can't be.
C plus? C plus? C plus?
Oh, no. You'll shoot your eye out? My mother must have gotten to Miss Shields. There could be no other explanation.
You'll shoot your eye out! You'll shoot your eye out!
Was there no end end to this conspiracy of irrational prejudice against Red Ryder and his peacemaker?
These multiplication questions were most missed in our last math test. Would you answer in unison, please?
I was surrounded by happier kids who were all going to get what they wanted for Christmas.
56.
Football? Oh no! What was I doing? Wake up, stupid! Wake up! No!
No, I want to fish a red undercover knife and 200 shot range by rifle.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho!
You ever told someone, have you ever had that friend who came to you for advice and they would not listen to you? Anyone ever have that? Right? That you see your friend or family or whatever in the middle of something that you knew was horrible for them and you told them, you'll shoot your eye out, right? And they want nothing to do with your advice. It's how we get sometimes when we get so obsessed about that thing, we will not listen to wisdom. We will only be about that thing. His mom says, you'll shoot your eye out. His teacher writes in the essay, you'll shoot your eye out. Even Santa, right? I mean, if Santa is going to say, you'll shoot your eye out, you probably ought to listen to him. Maybe your girlfriend was with a guy that was a bad person, right? And you're trying to tell her, listen, that dude is not good for you. And what does she say? Oh, he'd never do that to me, right? And then what happens? He does it to her, right? He breaks her heart. Maybe you've had a child who was saving up a bunch of money for that one toy, and you're like, it's going to break, right? It's not worth it. And they're so obsessed on buying that toy, and you let them buy it, and it breaks the first day, right? Many times when we are obsessed about this one thing, like Ralphie was obsessed about the Red Ryder, we will not listen to wisdom. And then what happens? You end up shooting your eye out, right? You end up shooting your eye out, which is what happens to Ralphie. What happens? You get what's coming to you.
Okay, Black Bart, now you get yours.
Oh my God, I shot my eye out!
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
You'll shoot your eye out!
Ralphie, you be careful out there. Don't shoot your eye out.
She hadn't seen. She didn't know. My eye's all right. The BB must have hit my glasses. My glasses? Oh no, where are my glasses? Few things brought such swift and terrible retribution on a kid as a pair of busted glasses. Pulverized.
Oh no.
For a moment I thought, I'll fake it. They'll never know the lens is gone.
Oh no.
Rapidly, my mind evolved a spectacular plot. Let's see, an icicle, falls off the garage and hits me in the eye. It would work. It had to work. Quickly, I whipped up some tears.
Ralphie? What's the matter, honey? Oh, what happened? What is it? Let me see that.
There's this icicle, and it fell off the garage, and it hit me.
Right? Sometimes we get what's coming to us, right? Sometimes you shoot your eye out. And all of those things that people told us, they come true. Sometimes the thing that we want the most turns on us, right? and it hits us square in the face. Many times that boy ends up breaking your heart. The phone you want so bad, you crack it the first day. Look, watch this video. Here's some
Yay, you got one.
Yeah.
Sometimes the thing that you want, it bites you, right? And what you have dreamed about for so long, reality sets in, the boy breaks your heart, the phone gets broken. You pull off the car lot in a brand new car and you're trying to hot rod and you smash into some random person, right? And if you were the friend that was telling your other friend not to, right? There's a lot of us in here who want to say so bad, I told you so. My neighbor said this to me last night. Neighbor across the street. It was not a BB gun incident. But he said, I told you so. Here's the reality for us. The God that we worship and serve is not an I told you so kind of God. And thankfully not. Jesus shared a parable. It's called the prodigal son, and maybe you've heard this parable before. It's in Luke chapter 15. And if you're not familiar with the Bible, just give you some background. Jesus is sharing this story to illustrate the Father's love for us, God's love for us. And he talks about two sons. There's a dad with two sons, an older son and a younger son. And the younger son asks for his inheritance, and dad says, okay, here's your inheritance. And the younger son goes off like most younger kids do and blows it on what young men blow things on, blow money on, women and girls and booze and all kinds of stuff. And he ends up finding himself homeless in a pit. And he's just thinking about what a mess he's made of his life. And he remembers back to his days at home, and he thinks about, well, my dad's got servants and they're living better than me. Maybe I can go back and just be a servant for my dad, and at least I'll be fed and I'll have a place to live. And this is where the parable picks up. Verse 20 of Luke chapter 15. So that son that we're talking about returned home to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father saw him. Filled with love and compassion, he, his father, ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. And his son said to him, Father, I've sinned against both heaven and you, and I'm no longer worthy of being called your son. 22. But his father said to the servants, Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we've been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he's found. So the party began. What an awesome picture of the Father's love for us, of the Father's forgiveness for us. You know what you don't hear in this story from the Father? I told you so. You know what you don't hear from the Father? Explain to me where all that money went. You know what you don't hear from the Father? Why should I let you back in my house? What we do hear from the Father is welcome home, I love you. Welcome home, I love you. That's what you hear from the Father in this parable. The story of Christmas is really all about Jesus, God, becoming flesh and coming to earth to live a life of greatness and really awesome stuff, and loving people and having followers follow him, and people hating him for that and murdering him for that, and resurrecting from the grave so that way we could hear those same words. Welcome home. I love you. Not I told you so. See, we don't worship an I told you so type of God, and I am so thankful for that. I am so grateful for that. This is the beauty of the Christmas season. This is truly the beauty of the Christmas season. So when we're urged to obsess over stuff like a Red Ryder, right? When we're urged to obsess over things, over trucks and cars and relationships and college educations and all of those things that we want, we need to be absolutely careful. It can be a truck or a hot guy at a gym. Those things will never fulfill you. Those things will never fulfill us. Look at Psalm 37:4. I'm going to close with this. Guys, you can come up. 37:4 of Psalm says this: take delight in the Lord, and He will give you your heart's desires. Now, this text has been taken way out of context for so many years upon years upon years. Many people say, well, if I just obey God, He's going to give me what I want. I'm going to get that new truck. I'm going to get that new truck if I obey God. I'm going to get that new house. I'm going to get that hot girl if I just obey God. This is not at all the context of this scripture. The idea here is that if we focus, if we spend our focus and attention and love and adoration and obsession on Jesus, then He is going to change our heart's desires from things like BB guns and F-250s, right, to things of kingdom value and kingdom purpose. And so when our heart changes from things to the Lord, then our heart desires what the Lord wants for us, and then He gives us those things. That's how that verse works. So as we're creating Christmas lists and we're remembering all of the things that we've gotten or didn't get under the Christmas tree, we need to be absolutely remindful, if that's a word. We need to remember the true reason, the best gift that we could ever get. And that is a relationship with our Father. Remember that it's only Christ that can fill that God-sized hole in you. That there is something that we are all looking for. All of us are looking to be fulfilled. And many of us run to booze or women or promotions or sports, or we run in so many different directions to try to truly be fulfilled. And it's only Christ that's going to fulfill us. It's only Christ that is going to give us true fulfillment in our life. Let's pray, and then we're going to finish up with some business. Father, I thank you. I thank you and praise you for who you are, God. Thank you so much for your gift to us. Thank you so much that you are not an I told you so type of God. That when we crash and burn, when we make mistakes, when we have totally blown it, you're not there to throw it in our face, but you're there to forgive us, to welcome us home. Thank you, Father, for that reality. May we never forget it. May we be men and women, boys and girls that live our lives in a way that don't take for granted what you've sacrificed. As we think about our Christmas list, as we think about all of the gifts under the tree, would our true focus not be on things, on you? Would you radically change our lives because of our obsession with you instead of things? God, we love you. We trust you. We commit this time to you. And we pray these things in Jesus' name.